Because putting this review together is using time I could be spending playing the game, I'm going to tell you as quickly and as lightly as I can why Monster Hunter World is back and better than ever. Monster Hunter World released on January 26 of 2018 on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and will be releasing at a later date on PC. This review will focus on the PS4 version of the game. Although the game has some cool additional features for pro versions of the home consoles, allowing you to favor either performance or graphics, I am still using my base PS4 from launch day and can really only comment from this perspective. Now let's get on with it. What is Monster Hunter World? Well, it's the same third-person action-adventure game it's always been. You play as a hunter in a foreign land, grab yourself a big-ass weapon and hunt some big-ass monsters. For the record, the dash is between the words big and ass, and not between the words ass and monster. There aren't any big-ass monsters in the game, and that might be the biggest negative about it. The story in the game is nothing special, and I would have it no other way. An elder dragon threatens the land. You explore the area, making your way inland, killing monsters that scale in difficulty and often in size as you get closer to the center. In short, Monster Hunter is about hunting monsters. Before the game starts, you get to run yourself through a character creator. I tried to make my guy look like me and was a tad unsuccessful, but the character creator itself is quite versatile. After this, you get to create your palico. A palico is a type of feline that fights alongside you and has many benefits in battle. I modeled my palico after my cat Ray because I'm corny and unimaginative, and it turned out pretty awesome. 10 out of 10. Now you pick your armor and weapons and head out. The weapon types in this game are numerous and none of them outshine the others. You simply find what fits your playstyle the best and master it. The game has many different quest types, but the vast majority will be hunts, captures, and gathering quests. These are all exactly how they sound. Hunts are killing large enemies, captures are capturing large enemies, and gathering quests require you to gather a specific amount of items. Combat is, of course, 99% of the gameplay experience. I can't really give an intimate rundown of how combat works because each weapon plays so radically different from the rest, but there is a weapon for every playstyle you could want. In previous Monster Hunter games, learning from books and experimentation was the only way to truly master your combos. In Monster Hunter World, they boosted quality of life mechanics to 11 and streamlined much of the experience. While I liked the old style, they now have a chart in the top right hand corner to show you how you can chain your attacks together, thus making it incredibly easy to pick up any new weapon and be useful in battle the first time you're ever using it. They also finally introduced the ability to lock onto enemies. I'll be honest, I don't like this and I think it should only be available for ranged weapons, as it upsets a lot of the meta of the series to me. That said, it is up to you if you use it or not. I simply chose not to, so it doesn't really hurt anything. Provided you are playing online, in the middle of a hunt you can fire SOS flares, which other hunters online will respond to and come help you. You of course can respond to other hunters' SOS flares from the central hub of the game, providing a great way to grind any monster you want. I've stated many times in the past that I am not a fan of grinding in games, but Monster Hunter may be the one exception to this. Thanks to some excellent AI, battles in Monster Hunter always feel organic. The way monsters respond and react to groups of enemies coming after them is nothing short of spectacular, making every battle feel fresh and alive and a completely invigorating experience no matter how many times you've done it. And doing all of this with friends or even strangers in a voice chat makes it even better. There are less monsters in Monster Hunter World as opposed to previous Monster Hunter entries, but this is of course the result of the massive overhaul that they've done to create this entry. More monsters are coming through free DLC in the future, so don't be too deterred. As you kill monsters, you can harvest parts from them and gather materials from within the environments, and these can be used to craft new weapons and armor sets in the central hub. The weapon trees may be a bit confusing, as will the control mapping for the game, but in time it will all make perfect sense. Although a lot of the game is streamlined, making it the easiest for new players to get into, this series will never be completely accessible for the general public. The central hub can be a bit hard to figure out right away as well. I'm a huge fan of its visual design being made mostly out of crashed ships, but the layout is something else. While it's not large, it will certainly feel that way for a little while. Here's a quick rundown of what you'll want to look out for in the central hub. These people here supply you with investigation missions. This guy here supplies you with info you gathered from investigating different monsters, allowing you to track them easier and identify their weaknesses. This guy makes your armor and weapons. This guy grows crops. This pig is a bit of a jerk. This cat cooks for you, allowing you buffs at the start of each new hunt. This pig is now the coolest pig. This is the gathering hub where you can meet other players in your session and form squads. This is a general store, and this is your personal abode where you can handle a lot of different tasks, most of which can be accessed in other places. Exploring the combat maps in Monster Hunter is surprisingly fluid and fun. Not only are the environments lush and imaginative, but they are decked to the teeth with items to collect and obstacles to take advantage of during battle. From simple things like plants that can be used to poison you and your enemies, to entire portions of the level that can be destroyed and used as weapons. Items you collect on the map can generally be used in crafting. You can choose to have some things be auto-crafted the moment you have the materials gathered for it. This is great for items that would normally be crafted frequently, such as antidotes and healing potions. Stamina now only drains when in active battle, and scaling over environment objects and climbing ledges feels as smooth as can be. Running downhill will put you into a bit of a controlled slide, and using your grappling hook while climbing will help you climb faster. All of this just feels right. These grappling hooks can also be used to swing over pits or in combat to pull you onto large enemies during a mounted attack. Maps are no longer sectioned off chunks with loading screens between them. Now they are full maps loaded entirely at once and completely seamless. Loading these maps can take a while, but it's worth the wait. The maps at times are as tall as they are wide, and there's so much to find within them. It would be overwhelming and easy to get lost in these worlds if it weren't for the scout flies. Scout flies are new to Monster Hunter World and can track anything you can see on your map or have gathered the scent of. Simply set the target for your scout flies on your map and let them lead the way. The game does suffer some pop-in from time to time, but nothing crazy. Frame rate too suffers, at times dipping as low as 24 FPS, but for the most part it does feel consistently high. The frame rate, strangely enough, is completely unlocked. Lighting effects, weather effects, particle effects all look amazing, and the draw distance on the environment is pretty great. Although to compensate for the PS4's lack of power and to keep performance running smooth, small enemies lose a good portion of their animation when in the distance. Overall, the game looks absolutely gorgeous. There is a small number of things I think this game done questionably, not the least of which is the story missions. Story missions cannot be started as a multiplayer endeavor. You must launch them solo. Only after you see the cutscene that introduces the monster can you be joined by other hunters. Other things like the occasional dips or even spikes in FPS I'd prefer to see smoothed out, and the skyboxes could stand to be cleaned up a little bit more. I also once had my pig disappear on me. In true Monster Hunter fashion, the game feels cumbersome to learn, but once learned, it's hard to imagine how most things could have been handled better. Monster Hunter World is the best Monster Hunter has ever been. It does a handful of things right, and a handful of things questionably. Then it does a few dozen more handfuls of things right. Monster Hunter may not seem like much on the surface, it is after all just going out and killing large monsters, but under its hood exists an engine with many parts moving in sympathy to each other to produce one of the most rewarding and exciting rides on the market today. Now it's time for a little bit of a confession. If you guys couldn't tell from the footage, I've not beaten the game yet, and I always make a point to beat a game before I review it. I'm 100% confident my opinion of the game will not change, but let me explain why I'm making the exception this time around. 5 years ago, I was heavily addicted to Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U. I played it for so long that 20 or more games must have got into my backlog. I made a rule then, because I was getting so addicted to the game, that I would no longer allow myself to spend more than 120 hours in any game. Regardless of progress at 120 hours, I would move on to the next game. I never truly beat Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I was well beyond the time I set a rule at and decided it was in my best interest to just move on. I don't know if I'll truly beat Monster Hunter World either, as I fully anticipating hitting the restrictions I set for myself. But loving these games as much as I do, I certainly wanted to put my word in on just how great I think this series is. And that's all I'm gonna say on Monster Hunter World. I know this one is a little bit disorganized and a little bit unorthodox for my channel, and I'm not really covering anything quite that niche, but that content will be coming back, so worry not. If this video has helped you guys at all, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, and links to socials are in the description. As always, thanks for watching.